Welcome to Dreamtime Hour with Stan Christensen. Come in, darlings, come in. You are at Rolstondire Manor, the home of mystery, horror, and all your bedtime stories, or nightmares. Bah ha 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 ha. We are the place that dreams are made of. So light a candle, lock your doors, snuggle up in bed, and welcome in.
Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of Dreamtime Hour. I'm your host, Stan Christensen. If you are new to the channel, you may want to look at previous episodes, as they do build upon each other. I would like to give a shout-out to our listeners in America, India, and Saudi Arabia. If you like our show, please give a like, share, and/or subscribe. You can also go to our website at waidradio.com for a full listing and offerings for our programs. Just to give a quick recap to those who may be new or missed an episode. Frick, my butler was attacked by vicious birds, and most of my house staff have been on sick leave as they have eaten a strange mushroom that had made them enraged, followed by being given a strange concoction of homemade remedies by Dr. Jekyll. Now, strange occurrences are happening with ghosts, and the village is in chaos with strange beings and forces of nature terrorizing the citizens. I've had to hire more staff, and now conflicts are beginning to take place, of which I plan to get to the bottom of. Thanks to Sir Henry, my librarian and historian of Rolstondire, for helping me keep things together. And thanks to you for tuning in and making our show a success. Now, we have a caller. Hello, caller, and welcome to Dreamtime Hour. Please state your name and where you are calling from.
This is Rosemary calling from New York.
Hello, Rosemary. Have you experienced a ghost before?
Oh, yes, Stan, I have, and still am. I believe it is my ex-husband. You see, things will get moved around or go missing in the house all the time. When I get upset and yell his name, like I'm angry, they will show up again. I think he is toying with me, trying to get back at me, trying to make me mad, you see.
Oh my.
I have a wig collection. They are really nice, like the styling of Miss Dolly Parton. I love them. So one day I came in to get my blonde wig for an important function, and there I find my blonde wig placed with all my brunette wigs. Can you believe it? And my keys. My keys are always being moved from where I put them. One time I found them in the refrigerator. It's the scariest of things. Wait a minute. Who is this I'm talking to?
Rosemary, this is Stan from Dreamtime Hour.
Oh, well, hi. Did you call for a donation?
No, but that would be nice. You could always become a member.
Well, this is Rosemary from Indiana.
I thought you said you're from New York.
I'm sorry. You must have the wrong number.
Okay, thanks for calling, I think. Well, folks, another call. Caller, your name and where you are calling from.
The name is Fred from Pennsylvania.
Fred.
Hi, yeah, I like your show, and I've been listening. That last caller you had, Rosemary. She's not missing her keys, and she doesn't have a wig collection. And her ex-husband, he is not dead. He is not a ghost. He is me, and I'm not dead. That lady is crazy as a bat. Always has been. I just started realizing it a few years ago, and she lives in Pennsylvania.
Okay, Fred. This is a huge misunderstanding, but I thank you for your call. Please call again.
Now wait one picking minute. Who is this? I thought this was the giveaway. Dagnabbit.
Oh, we're getting off to a good start. Henry, are you ready for our next reading?
You wanted to see me? Listen. Is this task I gave you too hard for you?
Well, no, but nothing! Don't forget who got you this job. You were nothing before you met me. Nothing! You were just like poor little Rosie. Now wait a minute.
No, you wait a minute. Just do the job I've provided you and you won't regret it. Now take care of the staff. I'll take care of the boys. And Flora, dear. Done unto crossed Amy, or you when regret it.
Come on, lighten up. All right, you asked for it.
Well, well, well. Having fun, boys?
Nurse.
Yes, Lucas. Isn't it past your playtime? There's work to be done in the morning.
Who put you in charge?
All we, James. Quite the submissive one, aren't we? Doing what everyone tells you without having a mind of your own. Boo-hoo. Such a sorry boy.
Wanamore. I think you're overstepping your bounds.
Really now, Lucas. And who's going to make sure everything is running properly around here? You? While you play with floaties in the swimming pool. Get over yourself. Stan was right about you. I said, no, give him a chance.
Right about what?
You'll see, handsome. You'll see.
Oh, James. James, you want me. You desire me. Remember, you want me, you desire me.
Luke?
No, boy. Not Luke. You'll wake wanting Nurse Wanamore. Only her. Where's the children? Children!
Thanks, Stan. Hey, good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in and joining me and us in this segment of the Ralston Dyer Archives. Let me fetch my assistant, Kabouter, and see what we can explore in the archives this evening. Hey, Kabouter, can you bring me up a file?
Coming right up, sir. Oh, what a busy day. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I've got one!
Thanks, Kabouter. Ooh. Oh, Kabouter, what do we have here? Oh, Kabouter. This is perfect. I forgot about this journal entry that was sent to us. I wonder whatever happened to this listener. I've not heard from him since.
Okay, Dreamtimers. This archive is entitled The Beast Unknown. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I love a nice hike out in nature, especially nice crisp mornings when the dew has freshly formed over the grass and the steam from the lake has risen like a blanket of fog, light enough that you can still see across the lake. The owls have long went to sleep from their watch of the unseen secrets of the night, and the ducks begin to make themselves known for their calls to the others to be awakened. The sun is gentle, calming, as it rises above the horizon, and it's a new day, a fresh day, and the fresh smell in the air relaxes your inner senses as you take in the deep breaths of fresh air the morning brings. I had packed food and clothing, my tackle box, and a fishing pole into the car to venture out for a weekend, to have a short getaway to a cabin I had in Ohio. I needed the relaxation and all of that would bring to get away from the daily demands of work and personal life. It was my getaway, my hideout. Thank God my family left me the cabin. The cabin I used to enjoy as a child when my family would pack us kids up for the weekend to do the same and have a wonderful time on the summer weekends. I remember swimming in the lake with my siblings and have fond memories of the whole family playing games out in the yard that was surrounded by the woods. Mom always had it fixed up before we got there with planted flowers and all clean, before we would create havoc to that favorite summer home. My brothers and I would play catch with a football, or we would all have a family game of badminton. The evenings always ended with a bonfire and cookout. Dad, he would clean the fish we caught that day, and my mother would be the chef cooking it all, along with the fixings. Man, I loved that place. So many memories, so much love, so much security in our little oasis away from the world. But this weekend, it was mine, and mine alone. I had a lot of thinking to do, a lot of unwinding to do. I intended to use it and all the time there for that reason. It was a Friday morning when I freshened up with a nice hot shower and made my way to the kitchen to fix some breakfast. Bacon, eggs, and toast this morning. The whole cabin smelled like a wonderful breakfast joint one would stop alongside of the interstate when vacationing. It was a small cabin, one floor with the kitchen, bath, master bedroom, and living room, and then there was a loft that was always my bedroom. The wooden stairs creaks now as you take steps up to the loft. The woodwork still had a shiny gloss, but was apparently fading from the years of use. Furniture always had to be uncovered, as the cabin is always left with a clean draping of sheets over the furniture to keep everything clean and tidy for our next return. There was no TV in this cabin, so if entertainment was required, I did have internet service and of course the old radio that still worked for my musical enjoyment. After breakfast, I made my way out to the porch swing that was affixed to the porch to have my coffee and listen to the songs of the birds hidden around the property in the woods. I would also look out to see if I could spot any foxes that inhabited the surrounding area. There were no longer any flowers planted, but the shrubs, although needing trimming, were still there surrounding the porch. As you look out from the porch, you would see the beautiful lake that sparkled throughout the day and the evening. It would act as a mirror to the stars and the moon. One would say it was a romantic setting, to say the least. Weeping willow trees surrounded the lake, and then the forest would surround the rest. There was a large front yard leading out to the dock and the lake. The grass had overtaken the rocks that created a pathway out to the dock. I had become so busy with my everyday life that I wasn't able to come out to that old cabin as much as I would like to. Weekends were no longer open for me to do so, and since I had no family of my own, well, it always seemed like a boring and depressingly lonely trip for just me to come there by myself. But this week was an exception. I had come to the decision that I needed to start taking some time out for me, and me alone. I needed to feel free, if even for a couple days or even a month. I was going to start venturing out to that cabin on the weekends once again. I'd bring my friends out with me, but since they were all married with families of their own, it wasn't as easy to do so as it used to be when we were younger and in college. Going there for our drunken stupors before the final exam. Man, those were the days. The craziness, the laughter, and oh my god, the one time my frat brothers came there for the weekend with our girlfriends. Now that was a party to remember, or rather to forget. I finished my coffee and I thought I'd grab a book and sit out the dock for a while, reading a mystery novel that had been laden with dust and that musty book smell from not being used or opened for a while. It was going to be a hot day, so I put on my shorts, my sandals, grabbed a book from the small bookshelf in the living room, a can of soda, and went out to the dock where my mother's chair still sat. Oh, it felt so good having that warm sun caressing my body, the heat hitting every tired muscle and creating beads of sweat all over my forehead, my arms, my legs. I put the book down, took off my shirt, and did something I hadn't done in years. I took a leap off that dock, and I took a swim in that pond. The mix of the warmth from the sun and the sudden chill from the cold water was so refreshing. It relaxed every part of my being. Man, this is what I needed. Why hadn't I done this long before now? After about a half an hour of enjoying myself, I sat back up on the pier and began to read my book. I woke up after being in the sun way too long to a sunburnt body and realized that between the sun and the book, I had read myself to sleep. I missed half of the late morning and about 2 hours into the afternoon, but by the time I collected myself, I made it up the grassy path to the cabin. It was now around 3 p.m. It was time to try to catch some fish so that I'd have a nice dinner, indeed. I took out my fishing pole and tackle box from the shed at the back of the cabin, and I ventured back down to the deck. I cast in my fishing line and began waiting for the bobber to begin tugging on my fishing line for hopes of an unlucky fish to grab, to provide me with my much-needed meal for the night. It was a lovely afternoon and a stress-free day. As I listened to the calls of nature around me, after 2 hours I began seeing my bobber bounce up and down, tugging on my line. I grabbed my pole and began to reel it in. I was fortunate enough to catch a nice walleye, big enough to make a grown man's stomach happy and mouth begin to water. As I began taking the fish off the hook, I don't exactly know why, but the first time I ever started having an uneasy feeling. I've always felt safe and comfortable at our summer home, but the hair started standing on the back of my neck and my arms. Even though I was miles away from the nearest neighbors, I had an overwhelming feeling that I was being watched. I looked across the lake and saw nothing. I looked around me in the surrounding forest, and again, nothing. But I could swear I felt something out there watching my every move. Oh, I thought, I'm being paranoid. I guess I'm not as relaxed as I thought I was. I may just need to take Monday off too, just to give me one more day to become more grounded and at ease. I couldn't see the foxes, but most likely they saw me, who were watching me with the fish I had just caught, thinking they deserved that meal before more than I did. I made my way up to the cabin and went inside to begin preparing my meal. I lit lanterns and candles throughout the cabin, turned on some smooth jazz music, and after cooking a delicious walleye, some corn on the cob, and a bowl of potato salad I had brought with me from the store, I ate my awesome meal, and I opened up a can of Heineken and went out on the porch to finish it off. Oh, what a wonderful day. I hadn't felt this good in so long. Perfection is all I could think of. Sitting on the porch swing, I listened to the lovely sounds of the chirping crickets, and the creaking of the frogs out in the lake, and the screech owls whose song had no ending. Ah, nature at its finest. The moon made a lit path across the water, and the stars were in full force, with not a cloud to be blocking the views. As I was taking a drink of my beer, I began hearing out into the distance of the forest a knocking sound. Knock, knock, knock. Then one large knock, and then nothing. It sounded almost like a 2x4 hitting amongst the trees. I wonder what kind of animal was doing that, I wondered. It couldn't be a buck out there hitting its antlers on the trees. Or could it? Whatever it was moving around in the woods, as it never seemed to come from the same place. As I took my last drink of my beer, oh, the smell. A strong, overwhelming scent of, well, I'm not sure, sort of like a wet, nasty dog smell, or worse yet, something dead, rotting, untamed. Oh man, that smell! It burnt my nostrils with every inhale I took. What the hell was it? Some animal must have caught their meal for the night themselves, but wait. If it was a fresh kill, it wouldn't smell. This odor was lingering like rotting meat. I then noticed something strange. Not one owl was calling out. Not one cricket with chirping. Not one frog was singing their usual tone. It was quite still. An overwhelming silence that was unnerving to say the least. Not one animal was making a sound. The woods were completely silent. Still. I felt like I was alone in the world. Not a soul nearby. Not a one. I felt an unease like no other and went inside the cabin and locked it up for the night. Could I be tipsy from one can of beer? Maybe that's it, I thought. It has been a while since I've had any drink. However, I did have a big meal, so it shouldn't have had that much effect on me. What is this feeling? I thought I'd put it to sleep and wake up refreshed in the morning. Instead of a hike, I'd do a repeat of today, as was, after all, mostly relaxing. I went through the cabin and unlit the lanterns, climbed up the creaky stairs, and lay down on my bed on the loft, next to my laptop. No, I thought, no laptop tonight, just go to sleep. As I lay in bed, I could hear the cuckoo clock downstairs, ticking every second. Usually it would put me to sleep like a metronome, keeping time to my body rhythm and psyche, but tonight, it was bothersome. As throughout the ticking I could hear outside in the distance that same knocking noise in the woods that I heard earlier. What is this craziness I'm experiencing? Am I so on edge and overwhelmed with stress that I finally am losing every bit of my sanity? Should I see a counselor when I get back to the city? What has happened to me? The anxiety was kicking in so bad, and I realized there was no balance between complete silence and normal everyday nature sounds. Or was it normal? I'm not so sure that what I'm experiencing is... The next thing I remember is waking up and jumping out of bed to run out and see my family. I had to recollect myself and realize that I'm by myself and family hasn't been around for years. Almost like waking up and thinking you're in high school, waiting for your mom to call your name as you're late for school. I felt very rested, yet I also felt like I had been hit with a brick. I fell back down into the bed, buried my head into the soft plaid pillow, covered myself up with a blanket, and before I knew, I was back to sleep. After all, I'm on a getaway. No need to rush the rest. Once awake and much more rested than before, I sat at the edge of my bed and grabbed my cell phone to check the time. Oh my lord, I've slept the whole morning away. There's no time for breakfast and no time for lunch and definitely no time to go fishing and catch my dinner. So, I guess I'll have breakfast for dinner tonight. Great idea, I thought. I could eat breakfast any time, and after all, it's just me. So, I thought after the uneasiness of last night, I'll make a big breakfast. homemade pancakes, scrambled eggs, and the rest of the bacon I brought with me, toast and jam, a nice big cup of coffee, and it'll be great. Again, I turned on my music and began preparing breakfast dinner, after I got a nice, long, hot, steamy shower to wake me up completely. And so I did, and it was great. Well, no swimming today, no books of mystery. I had enough of mystery last night, and absolutely no fishing. So, I opened up my laptop after dinner and began to look for some social media reels or to stream a movie that could occupy my time. Luckily enough, my internet service was still working. I couldn't find anything on my Netflix as usual, at least nothing I've seen before, so surfing through social media reels it was, until that seemed unsatisfyingly to my attention span. It was around 8 p.m. that I wandered outside onto the porch swing, but only cola this time, no more beer. Just as I sat down and began rocking the swing, thinking about memories past, I got a whiff. And oh no, not again, that smell. It was back. That horrific smell. But where was it coming from? I got off the swing and made it down the stairs around the side of the cabin. Whew, it was stronger now. A thick scent of matted up dirty animal hair mixed with rotting flesh. And soundless.
He's coming.
No creatures again making any type of their usual night songs. I can't even rely on the owls for standing guard of the surroundings, as there was nothing. Not a sound. Only that odor. I, being a very brave man, would not even dare to venture to the back of the cabin. Something about that smell and what I experienced the night before made me too uneasy. I wanted to stay as close as I could to the front door of my cabin and my car that was parked in the front of the cabin as I could. As I went to enter the front door, I heard the rustling of the trees, almost like I heard them falling. The knocking sounds began once again, and then that yell. Not a growl, not a scream, not a roar, but a yell, almost like someone was calling out in pain. Again, it wasn't from one particular area. It was surrounding the cabin. It was coming from all sides. What the hell is this? Or better yet, what the hell were they? I quickly ran into the house and locked the doors, closed the curtains, lit the lanterns, and just lay down on the couch. Waiting. For what? I do not know. The keys to my car and my phone were laying on the coffee table in the event of an emergency. I, however, did not want to venture out in the dark for nothing unless I absolutely needed to. As I sat there to do nothing but listen to the clock tick away, I began to think I was having a panic attack or paranoia. There's always a dead animal carcass laying around in a forest, isn't there? Maybe that's what the smell is. And as far as the knocking, well, that could be an animal. The yell? Well, I just hope no one was calling out in pain. I'm not that guy. I can't help anyone. Anyone. Heck, I can't even help myself. I just can't believe my workload has put me down this horrible abyss. If that's what it was. Oh, how I miss my mom, my dad, my brothers, my family. Just then, something hit the side of the cabin hard. As I was startled and sat up, something ran across the front porch. Something large, heavy, fast. Could it be a bear? No. The footsteps it took were far too large, at least 3, 4, 5 feet in between each step, and hard steps, real hard. Then I heard it run across the porch again. Or was that the same animal, or is there more than one? The more bangs on the side of the cabin, and then the crash, the breaking sound of glass. Something had broken the window in the kitchen. Bangs were coming in all directions now, and that horrible smell more prevalent than ever, and the yells. I was surrounded. I was being closed in at all sides. The noise from the terrifying invaders was horrendous, mind-altering, terrifying. I grabbed my dad's rifle that was still put above display above the front door, and luckily still loaded. I took a deep breath, and with all my nerve, I opened the front door and shot a buckshot out the door. The sound echoing and ringing through my ears, muffling them. After shooting the first round, everything got quiet once again. I dared look out the front door and heard and seen nothing. The animals began to sing once again. I never thought I'd miss hearing those repetitive chirping of those crickets. And the smell dissipated, and everything seemed to return to normal with nature. I, however, was not normal. Too many questions. My nerves were at wit's end. What did I experience? Do I get into my car and leave? Or just lock up the cabin and wait until morning? What about the window? I decided to board up the window with some plywood that was laying around in the closet, double-locked the doors and barricaded them with furniture, grabbed my gun, my phone, my keys, ran up the stairs to the loft, to my bed, and lay down. It seemed as though I was safer inside the cabin than outside in the elements. I'll wait it out until morning, I thought, and I fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, I packed my bags, grabbed my belongings, got my keys, and locked the front door, quickly running out to the car. I didn't even take time to cover the furniture. It may have been tradition to do so, but sorry, Mom and Dad, I broke tradition. I would never return to that cabin again, as I sold it for a good price. It was not a place of sanity or relaxation for me. That was only a memory. What also is a memory is that crazy night. What I will never, forever forget and understand is what kind of animal terrorized me that night, and also where that big chunk of animal flesh with matted up foul-smelling hair came from that was stuck into the broken glass from the kitchen window.
Thank you, Henry. Well, Dreamtimers, that concludes this episode or Dreamtime Hour. Thank you for tuning in, and please do us a favor and like, follow, and share to keep us going with more episodes. Also, check in to WAIDradio.com to find out all of our listings and shows, or to give us comments or suggestions. And as always, I'm Stan Christensen. We shall see you next time. Happy nightmares.